How the grass isn't greener for the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So I've created this video a couple times over the last 4 years, and I will touch it up now because, again, I'm getting inundated with emails from people asking this exact question. Why does the narcissist always think the grass is greener? Why do they always think the new supply is the best thing ever? And why do they always appear to slither off into the darkness as if nothing ever mattered? I'll answer all these questions and so many more. First of all, the grass is greener on the other side. That's an old adage. Many times people thought that the grass was greener, meaning wherever you were, that you thought things would be better in a different place or a different relationship or a different pasture, whatever it was. Well, now let's fast forward to the narcissistic abusive cycle. The narcissist is loyal to nobody. They care about nobody. And they do believe that the grass is always going to be greener with a new source of supply. They always believe that they're going to elevate themselves and their lifestyle from one relationship to the next. The narcissist believes that they'll never be found out. They'll never be caught. They won't be unmasked. They won't be exposed, and that they can do whatever they want to on this planet called Earth. The narcissist knows within their shallowness, within their hollowness, within that huge void within them, that they are nothing but an abuser, nothing but a manipulator. They lie, they cheat, they steal, they blame anybody that they possibly can for their own misgivings. And they will do this over and over and over again. Now, your relationship was one leg of the life of the narcissist. Maybe you were with them for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, 50 years. Can't tell you, but what I can tell you is that relationship ended when it was supposed to, because each and every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. But number two, the narcissist most likely thought that the grass would be greener. And when I say the grass being greener, it doesn't mean it has to be with a person. It could be with a location. It could be with a house. It could be with a job. It could be with so many different things, but usually it's with a person. Now, you must understand that when you were with the narcissist, they may have been with you physically, but mentally, they were anything but there with you. They were on their smartphones, plural, gathering up new sources of supply, seeing if other people still allowed them to live their mind rent-free, and seeing if other people give them access, and they were grooming other people as well. Now, when you weren't with the narcissist, you will never know where they were, because what they told you most likely was a fabrication. It was most likely a sliver of the truth. Maybe it was a flat-out lie. I can't tell you, but the narcissist keeps so many secrets that you will never know the truth about where they were when they weren't with you. And again, as I shared, even when they were with you physically, they weren't there mentally or emotionally. They were checked out. They were zapping your energy, stealing your mindset, crushing your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And they did it deliberately, intentionally, and on purpose. But this is what happens when the narcissist gets too complacent. This is when the narcissist controls the person, which was me and probably was you. They get jaded, they get bored, they need a new challenge, they need a new shiny object, they need someone new to love bomb, to have the trap be falling, to have them fall into the trap of abuse, and to have a new clean slate, which again is what I call the new supply. The new supply, you must remember, they're one of three people. They are a toxic person themselves, which is possible. They are a person who has not figured out what narcissism is, and they are a recycled source of supply, which is quite possible as well. Or they're probably, most likely, a new shiny object, a new person who doesn't know what toxicity is. And that maybe that person also believes that the grass is going to be greener. Maybe that person is a healthy, stable person, but they believe that their husband or wife, or whoever it is abusing them, or maybe they're not, I can't tell you. And they think that your ex is where the grass is going to be greener. Any way you cut it, it's not good if you're too close to the narcissist. You're learning that now. You're understanding it. You're now wrapping your head around what toxicity is, what narcissism is, what mindset is, what empathy is, and that not each and every one of us have the same perspectives on life. Some of us are givers, many of us are takers. And there's a fine line between giving and taking, meaning, did you have boundaries when you're in the relationship? Probably not. Were you a people pleaser? Possibly. Were you an open book? Yes, you were. Did you know what narcissism was? No, you didn't. Did you think that this was going to be an amazing, loving, stable, healthy relationship from the minute you met them, or the minute that you two fell in love or entered a relationship? Maybe it was business, or maybe it was a gym buddy. I don't know who it was. Until it ended, well, you thought that that person was committed. They were anything but committed. They were using you. manipulating you, dragging it out as long as they could. And eventually when they took whatever they wanted from you, and believe me, they took whatever they could, they would crumble you up like a sheet of paper, throw you away on the freeway, and discard you. That is not a pleasant experience. But then again, the narcissistic relationship is not a pleasant experience because everything is bizarro world. What is up is down, what is left is right, what is in is out, and what is black is white. You could never get your footing when you're in that relationship. You weren't being respected, you weren't being heard, you were walking on eggshells, you were holding your breath to see when the next shoe would drop, you were biting your tongue, you were ignoring your instincts, ignoring red flags, and not trusting your intuition. Again, how could you know that the person that you were sharing everything with, maybe even being intimate with, was your abuser? How could you realize that that person could lie out of both sides of their mouth? How could you realize that they knew what word salad was? How could you realize that they knew what triangulation was? How could you know that they were experts in gaslighting? How could you know that they had done this before they met you and that they just fine-tuned their skill set when they were with you and now they're doing it right now? But as the thumbnail mentions, why the grass isn't greener for the narcissist, it's because these people always overplay their hand. They always get cocky. The arrogance always bubbles up. They always believe that they have finished people off, that they won't exist. They always believe that the truth will never come to light. The narcissist also believes that whatever they did in the past with other sources of supply or other relationships, that they can replicate in a second. Now, the truth there is, yeah, they can replicate these until when? Until they can't. And when they can't, that day is approaching sooner and sooner. And it is going to punch the narcissist right in the face figuratively, not literally, figuratively, because the narcissist has fewer and fewer places to hide these days. They have fewer rocks to crawl out from underneath. They have fewer corners to lurk around. They have fewer pitch black spaces where they exist. The light is beginning to shine brighter and brighter, and the darkness is beginning to get smaller and smaller. You didn't know that back then because you thought you were in a stable relationship. You weren't. You were in a relationship with a person who was using you as a pool person, an errand person, a sounding board, a walking apology, a walking ATM, and everything else that they could use you for. Again, once they took what they wanted, they probably thought the grass was greener elsewhere. They most likely discarded you. Now, why the grass isn't greener for the narcissist? There are many reasons. One is you need to remember the narcissist cannot escape themselves. They cannot escape the void within them. They cannot escape what they've done with people, how they did it, why they did it, and that they will do it again. They cannot escape the reality of the demons that spin around in their tiny little brain. They cannot fill that void within them for any length of time. The void within them, the bottomless pit, if you will, that can be filled sometimes for a minute, for an hour, for a half a day, for a day, maybe for a weekend sometimes. But then eventually the narcissist gets jaded and bored, and eventually the demons bubble up in their tiny little brain and they realize, wait, I need to stay busy, busy, busy. I need to do something. I need to get on a dating app. I need to get on social media. I need to post pictures of places I've never been to. I need to use 30 filters to get as many people on the hook as I possibly can on my social media platforms. I need to take my wedding ring off and make it appear as if I'm single. I need to use the smear campaign in micro fashions and macro fashions. I need to be performing to an audience, any audience at all that will be listening to me. And the audience the narcissist is performing for, as I've shared with so many videos recently, many times it was an audience of one or just the two of you. Many times it was an audience of you and let's say 2 or 3 people if you were at a barbecue, or maybe you had a couple's dinner. Maybe it was an audience of 20 plus people if it was an event or a celebration or a holiday or a birthday. Maybe it was a bigger audience if they were giving a class or teaching or part of a class or part of the student body, who knows? But the narcissist is always performing. And when they're performing, they're looking to see who is giving them the most attention. They're not just doing that, they're looking to see who can provide them for what they want for the next leg of their existence. I'm talking about the narcissist. And this is why when they find somebody that they deem better supply source than you were, and I can say it because unfortunately I was used like a supply source too, but I am not a supply source. I am a beautiful, bright, shining light, and you are as well. But when they deem that somebody has something that they want, or when they deem that somebody has something they can take from them, that's when the target goes on that person. And that's when they begin to tell themselves, and I'm referring to the narcissist, that yeah, the grass will be greener. Yes, example, I'll give you an example right here. Let's say the narcissist was with somebody and that person had a good job, but they were living paycheck to paycheck, and they had 2 mortgages and raising kids and whatever they were doing. And I lived that life implicitly for quite a long time. Well, then the narcissist meets somebody that is, let's say, single or appearing single, or has a couple $1 million or maybe $10 million, or owns beach houses or yachts or ski chalets, or is members of the country club, or is on the local TV channel. I can't tell you who it is, but the narcissist will easily pivot away from the person who is trying to provide for a family, 9-to-5 job, credit card debt, and mortgages and raising kids and all that, to a shinier object, a person perhaps that appears to have less things tying them down. And this is what the narcissist does, because what does the narcissist love more than money? They love your money more than money. And when your money goes, that's when the narcissist goes too. But what they did with you, and they certainly did it with me, was use up your money, your time, your energy. They try to steal your empathy, your mindset, your hope, your love, your ability to believe in humanity and more. They failed miserably. But the point being is, now when they discarded you or discarded me, and they went on thinking that the grass would be greener, it isn't the way it is. It isn't the way they think it is, I should say. You were supposed to think that they sailed off into the sunset, and that they were in some Hollywood movie with just them and the new supply, holding hands and making love 23.5 hours a day and drinking champagne, James Bond style, with all the James Bond girls and everything. Well, that's not what happens. What happens with the narcissist is the same thing that happened with you. Once they get too close to the new supply, and once the narcissist has the new supply fall into the web of manipulation, essentially they're now under the spell, and they're in the trauma bond, or they're caught up in the devaluation stage, or certainly they're in the narcissistic fog. Then they begin pulling back. And as they pull back, the new supply wants to be with the narcissist more, and to stay in that relationship more with the toxic parasite, i.e. the narcissist. The new supply, using this example, perhaps has, let's say, $10 million or more. Well, they're going to start using that money to gain the narcissist's attention and to fawn all over them, and to essentially, if you will, spend their way into staying in that relationship. What is the narcissist doing when this is happening? They are getting supply central every way possible. 1, from ending your relationship. 2, from probably keeping you trapped in the legal system and custody, etc. But 3, flipping it to the new supply where they believe the grass is greener. They now have another walking zombie. They now have another walking apology with deep pockets. They now have somebody caught up in the trauma bond, just like you were. But what will they do with this person? The exact same thing. The only difference is this person, using this example, has more money than you, and certainly more money than I had or have. But what do they do here? They look at the bank account and the access, and they say, wait, you're a member of this country club, and there are only 10,000 members in the whole country or the whole planet, whatever, but they can initiate 2 members every year. Well, I'll be one of those members. I need to be one of those chosen people, one of the select people that's part of the country club. You see, they're slowly going to insidiously creep their way into the new supply's life, thinking the grass is greener. And the new supply, again, I shared with you earlier, whoever they are, but they're going to do their best to stay in that relationship because they're now caught up in the web of manipulation. Well, what happens? Eventually, the narcissist looks at the new supply, even though they have deep pockets, as this example illustrates, and eventually the relationship will be so one-sided that the narcissist will be doing less than 1% of the work. The new supply will be doing 99% of the work, mainly financially, and the new supply is going to find out that their bank accounts are going to be going to zero rather quickly. And then what will happen? Well, the narcissist may be saying to themselves, wow, the grass really is greener, but you know what? That's only money. They still can't fill the void within them, and they still are basing what people see about them on the illusion, on the appearances, on the filters, on the dating apps, on the social media, on the fancy cars and the watches and the cruises and all that. Well, the luster of that all gets very, very cumbersome and tired, and the narcissist gets jaded. How many cruises can one person go on? How much money can they possibly steal from this one person when it isn't even a challenge any longer? Well, what will happen? The new supply will get so beaten down that eventually the narcissist will, say it with me, that's right, they will look for another source of supply, and it probably will be one of those members of the country club that now they're a member of with 10,002 members. You see, this is how quickly the narcissist enters a life. It's how quickly they take whatever they can from the target. It's how quickly they remove themselves from that person's life, and it's how little they care about that person. And that person was me and probably was you. So before I close the example, I'll just share this. Now that person that used to have $10 million, maybe now they're They're down to $200,000. I can't tell you, this isn't a hypothetical analogy, but I'm sure it's happening right now in multiple places all over the planet. And yes, I do mean that. Well, then the narcissist now has all these beach homes and all the money and everything, and they're blowing through it, and they're buying crypto and hiding gold and buying properties and doing everything they can. And this person that had all the money and was single, or appeared to be single, or was trying to remove themselves from their own toxic relationship without knowing about what narcissism was, they just gave everything and more, and before you know it, they will be crumbled up like a sheet of paper, thrown away in the freeway, wash, rinse, repeat, rinse, wash, repeat. But the narcissist will be saying to themselves, wow, that person with all the money, they had money, that's all they had. With you, what they're gonna say with you is you had a lot for you. Maybe you didn't have the deepest pockets, maybe you do. I can't tell you, not my business, but what I can tell you is if you made it this far in the video, you have a high level of empathy. If you made it this far in the video, you're meant to be here. And if you made it this far in the video, you're craving the wisdom because you're getting the answers to the questions that you had, or maybe you just figured out that you had different questions after watching this video. Any way you cut it, you were what is known as the new supply. So was I, and so was that person, the person with the large pockets. But the narcissist is loyal to nobody. They care about nobody. The only thing they care about is what they can take and how they feel in any particular moment of the day. And when that moment passes, so does the narcissist's mood. That's why the narcissist needs people to regulate them. That's why being with these people, you're always on a roller coaster of emotions. You're taking super high, drop super low. No good deed goes unpunished. You can never get your bearings. You're always walking on eggshells. You can never be heard. You're not being respected. You're being treated less than a complete stranger. You're being hung up on. You're being having rage fits thrown at you. Your ears being screamed at in a moving car at 100 miles an hour, and more and more and more. Eventually, that relationship that you were a part of, just like the relationship with the new supply, it withers away, it falls apart, because there are not two people working to build a relationship. There is one person who is giving, giving, giving. The other person, the narcissist, is taking, 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 and punishing the person who is giving, so they will give everything they possibly can and more. And when there's nothing left to give, the narcissist is gone. They're already off to another source of supply, or multiple, that they've been vetting right in front of you or behind your back. And at times, not always, but at times, these new supply sources will come out of left field and they will blow your mind. You're telling me that the narcissist that you were in the relationship with was cheating on you with your direct boss, wink, wink, or maybe with your sister's boyfriend, wink, wink, or maybe with your neighbor's best friend, wink, wink. I can't tell you. What I can tell you is, as I shared with you earlier in the video, wherever the narcissist is, you will never know what's going on in that tiny little feeble brain of theirs, because they're always plotting, they're always planning, they're always looking over their shoulder, they're always afraid of being exposed, they're afraid of running out of supply, and they always, and I mean always, think the grass is greener. Well, narcissists, plural all over the planet, the grass isn't greener. You're figuring that out now, and guess what? Shame on you. You see, what you did is you had the best thing ever in people like myself and people like anyone that made it this far in the video that isn't the narcissist. And what you did is you took your best shot at us and you tried your best to extinguish us, so we wouldn't live to tell the tale. We wouldn't live to tell the truth. We wouldn't live to get other people stronger. We wouldn't live to pay it forward. But that's what we've done. That's what I've done. And my hope is that's what you're doing each and every day, getting your cup full. Not the narcissist, you I'm referring to, who's made it this far in the video. You see, at one point we were vulnerable, we were naive, we didn't know what was going on, and we entered a relationship from hell that we didn't even know existed. Fast forward, and the relationship happens. We are on an island of abuse in an ocean of manipulation, all isolated by ourselves, intentionally and deliberately and on purpose, at the hands of the narcissist via the smear campaign and so many more things. And the narcissist thought that we would be shipwrecked forever. Truth be told, many people before us were shipwrecked, and they still are. But that's not you, and that's definitely not me. That's why once you get the wisdom, you need to apply the tools. Get off the radar of the narcissist. Have a small footprint, which means do not share information, do not overshare information, keep to yourself, stay in the cocoon of boundaries, heal and heal properly, and eventually when you're ready, do what you want to do. But eventually you will arrive at that mountaintop, that pinnacle of indifference, if you continue to see the light at the end of the tunnel and continue to work on yourself. Nobody, and I mean nobody's going to come knocking on your door. You were supposed to think that the grass was greener for the narcissist. You were supposed to experience FOMO, which is fear of missing out. You were supposed to stay stuck, never ever figuring out any of this. But that's not what you've done. You see behind the mask. You see behind the illusion. You see the fraudster. You see the Ponzi scheme. You see the person who just manipulated a relationship built upon a foundation of quicksand in an ocean of abuse. That's what they did with you. That's what they did before you, and that's what they're doing right now. And right when the narcissist gets the new supply, or the new supply, or the new supply, whoever it is, right when they get them in a relationship, whether it's budding or whether they've been in a relationship for a little bit of time, believe me when I tell you, the narcissist will get jaded and bored, just like they did with former relationships. Once they take everything from that person, they will have thought that the grass was greener. The grass is never greener. The grass only withers away, and it gets dirty and it gets brown, and eventually there is no grass wherever the narcissist goes. That's why nothing ever grows where the narcissist is. Notice this one, and I will close the video. Maybe you had plants in your house. Let's say you did. And the narcissist, when the narcissist was around, maybe the plants weren't doing well, or maybe your pets weren't doing well. Well, when the narcissist left, what happened? It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't a miracle. It wasn't an accident that the pet's health improved, or that the plants started to live again or grow. It's energy, people. It's energy. Remove the toxic energy from your aura. Remove the toxic energy from your household. Remove the toxic energy from your presence, from your mindset. Release the toxic energy. Go no contact and block that person. If not now, when? Everything returns back to you when you go no contact and you cut the 4 ties, which include the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, the spiritual tie. Does it happen overnight? No, it doesn't. Does it happen over time? Yes, it does. But I will share this and I will close the video. You will have to do your part. You will have to understand if where you are now is not where you want to be, there is work to be done. Wherever you are, I was there. If where you are is where you want to be, stay there. Don't tempt fate. Don't unblock the narcissist. Don't peek at their social. Don't give them another chance. Don't give them another opportunity, and make sure you maintain your small footprint and your boundaries. Because if you leave the door open just a crack for any toxic person to enter, they will try their best to kick it wide open. And the next thing you know, you could go back to another narcissistic abusive cycle. And that's the last thing you want. It's the last thing I want. And I sincerely wish that narcissism would be eradicated from the planet. Not the people, but the mannerisms, the behaviors, and the toxic mindset. But again, it's not going to be erased in my lifetime. Maybe it will be in yours. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful, chilly Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Understand a few things. Why the grass isn't greener for the narcissist? The narcissist wanted you thinking that the grass was greener for them. Number 2, and I skipped number 1, but number 2 is the narcissist wanted you experiencing FOMO, fear of missing out. Number 3, there was a trauma bond that you had to get through. That is not an easy feat. It's not an easy task, specifically when you don't even know what it is. Number 4, the narcissist had lined this up for days, weeks, months, years, maybe even decades, meaning the destruction of you, your life, your health, your hobbies, your money, your relationships, and more. Number 4, they knew exactly what they were doing, and that they are doing it right now in any capacity they can. These people don't change. They know it. They deteriorate. They know it. And they also know why the grass isn't greener for them. It's because they destroy every single thing they ever touch, ever encounter, or have anything to do with. This is why you need to stay away from these people. They deteriorate, and they want to take anybody, and I mean anybody, down in that low vibrational quagmire state where they exist with them. That's why you're out. When you're out, you need to stay out. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye. And it is cold. Bye.